Tyler was happy to see me. He licked my face. Mom doesn't like it when Tyler licks my face. You know why. The terrible G word.
You can't scare me. Not with the basement of botany. Maybe a sentient dummy. Calling all creeps.
Ooh dudes, welcome to Calling All Creeps, a podcast about Goosebumps. It is episode 61. I've been sobbing all day. I can't stop. The fluids have left my body, all of the fluids. And I'm Shania Twain. As always, I'm here with Brad Pitt.
Cheerio. What's all this then?
Wait.
Pip, pip.
Are you being Brad Pitt from that movie Snatch? Was he in that movie?
Oh, I ain't Brad Pitt, isn't it? Gov?
Well, look. So I set up the joke so that I can say you don't impress me much. But you really threw me for a loop with this British Brad Pitt.
Bollocks, Gov. What's all this then? I've been reading...
Splashing about?
I live in your basement, Bollocks, Gov.
I live in your bloody basement. I do.
What's all this? If you look, I'm that friend who spent so much time in the UK that now I have a British accent because I read the UK version.
Oh,
this
man.
week.
I can't wait to dig into that.
Well, we'll dig into it, but I got something else if you dig it. Bollocks, governor, in it.
You know what I dig? I dig special guests.
Oh, man, I'm going to dig this guest. Dig deep. We have Gene here, also known on the streets as Melt for his fantastic art. And also, he's a cutie pie. Gene, how are you?
Whoa.
I'm fantastic. Now I'm even better. Thank you.
Welcome to the pod, Gene. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Amazing. Now, is that true?
Actually, yes. I have listened to a good amount of you guys' show. So I have a general idea of what's going on.
Okay. Which is just madness, basically.
I'm surprised, too, because a good amount of us is like very little amount. Because I don't know if you mean like a decent number or a decent amount of listening to our voices. Which
I'd probably listen to like somewhere between like 15 to 20 episodes.
Perfect.
Like
wow.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Well, you also listen to an episode that very few people have the ability to listen to and will ever have the ability to listen to.
Yes. Yeah. I always hoped that would like come to fruition so I could enjoy it a little more. Just enjoy the fact that Spider-Man started dancing in the middle of it. But
yeah, our fabled live show.
Yeah, we had a live show at ZapCon. Gene was there. It got derailed pretty quick by breakdancing Spider-Man.
Quickly, dude, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, I mean, like, okay, I've seen some crazier stuff, but that I'll put in my top 6 probably, because that was just... Because I was trying to watch you guys. I was trying to be, like, as part of the audience as possible, but, like, just 6 feet to the left, there was 2 guys.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, battling. He bailed us out. They both bailed us out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's definitely fair enough.
But it was kind of like the Monday Night Wars where, like, you know, you're flicking through the channel and on one, it's just like, oh, Hulk Hogan's not even here anymore and stuff. And then you flick over to the left channel and there's like Kevin Nash and shit and like Hulk Hogan and NWO. Yeah, we couldn't compete with breakdancing Spider-Man.
We were trying to read to people while Spider-Man's breakdancing. Come on.
It's like RL Stine's tweets are great, but they cannot hold up against it, sadly.
No, they are great though. You're right.
We did re-listen to it. That was a great thing where you made a game where it was
It was basically the answers were all just RL Stine, but he said it was going to be somebody else.
Yeah.
No, I had at least
maybe one. I was trying to think back. I think it is just one of them was the other person.
It was
the rest of them were definitely only RL Stine.
It was RL Stine or Jill Stein.
Yes,
right. That's what it is.
Failed Green Party candidate Jill Stein. Everyone's favorite. Crowd pleaser.
It definitely sold me. That's for sure.
You sound thrilled.
Well, if we hit our numbers on our Patreon, then we'll have to release that.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to miss most about the podcast, Dave, more than all of our beautiful listeners, more than hanging out with one of my dearest friends, Dave, is the sweet, sweet money that we get for this fucking shit. Like this cash cow. We're going to finally
the cow of cash, yes,
set
for
it
sure.
to pasture.
When do you guys hit your ads? Like, do you just drop them in, or like, is that like, is the read in during it?
Well, it's kind of a peer pressure thing. Weirdly enough, we're working for, we're trying to get people to come. We work for Big Cum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a reverse advertisement. That's why we didn't say come for a year, because they wouldn't renew.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course,
yeah. But now every time we say come, they send us a free bottle of cum.
Sick.
Yeah, it is pretty sickening. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Especially they keep putting all those My Little Ponies in them. And I'm just not happy about it.
I know that reference, and it sickens me that I do.
That was a request that we made.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because they still keep them in glass bottles. The cum man comes and leaves them on the front. You're supposed to recycle them after you've drank them, but
you're not supposed to leave them on the radiator.
How else will I smell it from across the room? Gene, we're so glad to have you here. I do want to
really
know.
Appreciate it.
We do this every time we have a guest. The listeners will tell you. Look, first of all, this is going great. First of all, you're going to get a huge, we call this the creeps bump. You're going to see that Instagram follower number, at least 1,000 in the first minute this episode drops.
Oh, wow.
So
but then by minute 4,
I'll count it down. They all just leave.
Yeah.
They dip right back out.
Yeah, they back out. But, it was nice for them to drop
Yeah,
by.
just to show up for a little bit, give me a like or two. Yeah, I appreciate
Absolutely.
anything I can get at this
little
point.
serotonin bump.
Yeah, right.
No, we do get to know our guests through Goosebumps a little bit. So I am curious. Can I ask you a very personal question to start us off?
I guess, yeah, you may.
Oh, that sounded very committal, so I'm going to go with it. What is your age?
I'm 28 now.
God,
most recently
old
28.
As hell.
Yeah, it feels that
Fucking
way.
old as dust. You're turning to dust before my eyes.
Yeah, it's that scene in Avengers all over again.
Which scene? It's all of it's like snapping and dusting now.
Yeah. Snaps dust.
And so that's a good age. You were kind of there for some of the,
it's like the very like tail end of it,
right? Of Goosebumps mania. Although, and that was the original surge, which was obviously really important, but it's never really gone away. So
no.
So anyway, the question that we tend to ask is like, what's your relationship to Goosebumps? Are you a fan? Were you a fan? What's that journey like for you?
Scholastic, dude.
Yeah,
Scholastic, however you want to pronounce it.
Dude, I like the hybrid. I like that. That says a lot to me.
But like it just like it reminds me of like staring at covers, knowing I'll never look at the insides of them, but being like, those are nice. Like I was one of those people who had a nice collection of like Animorphs books just so I could like look like what's it the flip cover, the flip book that's on the inside, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
like
some of them
on the
had
inside when you could watch like the transformation over time. I was like, well, I need that book for that exclusively. But I do remember picking up Goosebumps books like for the covers. What's his name? Jim or Tim
Jacobus.
Yeah.
As we call him. It's actually Jacobus, but fuck that.
I like Jacobus better.
Me too.
So do we.
Yeah, but his stuff like literally like drove me to actually open those books because I was like, well, this just looks interesting. Like I definitely had like copies of like the Haunted Mass back in the day, the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, like that kind of stuff. Like the show definitely also influenced it, like because I was like within the era of being at the age where I could watch it on Nickelodeon and be like, I have that book in my shelf. It's collecting dust, but I have it.
Yeah. The show was huge because there's a period in the 90s where, I mean, and of course,
Canada was just pumping it out.
Canada was pumping it out, and I was swallowing it hard.
Everything. Give me that Degrassi.
And
this Canada pump is brought to you by Big Cum.
Man, I can't wait for the check to come in for that one. Yeah, I mean that was a huge deal. I remember when Goosebumps was on Fox Kids when it was first airing. It would be like a Saturday morning, I think. Like it was a premium
Dude,
slot.
Fox Kids was like heroin to me, like back in the day.
Yeah,
like, just
what else?
Being able to crank out and watch like Power Rangers, Goosebumps, like all of that like cheesy stuff, but also it just meant so much to you at that time that you were like, acting isn't bad. What are you talking about?
I thought
Everyone's
you were gonna
perfect.
I thought you were gonna go different with that when you said it was like heroin. I was like, Fox Kid killed a lot of the kids you graduated with.
Yeah. The Fox Kids put a lot of them down. You can still get like a few baggies of Fox Kids out in Patterson. It's pretty hard, dude.
New Jersey specifics.
Yeah.
So I mean that the show definitely. I thought we've talked about this on the podcast before. Now you watch it, and obviously it's insane. But I watched it at the time, and I thought it was fucking great.
Dude, where would we be without like Gosling at this point? We wouldn't even have him.
Well, I ask myself that every day. Yeah.
Exactly. You wake up and say WWRGD. Is that
Hell
makes
yeah.
sense.
I'm glad that you jumped on that grenade because I had the same thought and I was like, not going to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. So did you end up reading any of them, or were you just?
No, definitely. Like, I was not the biggest reader as a child, but like they had pictures on the front, and I was like, I can fuck with those pictures, and I will read what's inside of said pictures. I have a very vivid memory of being in kindergarten, and like it was like two separate classes. I was in the smaller class and there was a bigger class. My parents told me it was because I was smarter, but like I could never tell you if that was true or not. But we like combined classes at one point, and one day we just watched the episode Werewolf of Fever Swamp on VHS or something. Yeah, I know. We were in kindergarten. So like it was, or maybe even first grade, but at that point it was just like, why are we watching this in school?
For sure, that's the biggest question. Why is this happening? Yeah.
Yes, but I have just this weird, vivid memory because I think it was the first time I had ever seen that show, and it burned into my mind because I was like, this is half terrifying, half like hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. That song really permeates too.
Yes, it plays in the back of my head like all the time.
Yeah.
And then that dog is just like,
and that dog,
woof, woof, woof,
bark.
And like RL Stine's just staring down a town, and he has like the shittiest briefcase.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
dude,
it
never stays closed. Every day he walks out of that place, it just never freaking stays closed.
Yeah, all his jars.
Fucking litterer.
All those jars.
The jars tumble out.
This episode sponsored by Big Gum.
So do you have a favorite that you remember? Because you picked this book to be the one you wanted to do like kind of early on.
Because it's hilarious. This one specifically is hilarious. I don't know what it is about it. It's not my favorite. I would probably say the Haunted Mask is probably my favorite just because of like how spooky it actually was as a kid. But this one just, I don't know, it hits different. Like it's so stupid. Like I feel like makes you think, and it has like a whole different, like if the last chapter didn't exist in this book, I think it would be significantly better.
Amen to that.
Yeah, we could say that for almost
if you could for almost all of them, like because like you could even do a twist for this book and it would be significantly better, but not the one that they chose. I won't spoil it yet, but
this book I feel like would be dumb as a kid, but kind of was way cooler to read.
The concept, yeah, but like having seen so many things that are like it, like now, like going back and reading something that is just like another like dream state type movie type thing, I was like, okay, so this is gonna be weird, and then he's probably gonna wake up again. Okay, there he goes. He wakes up again.
It's kind of like you went to see Inception, and then there's like the Lionsgate version of Inception.
Yeah, right.
This is just like, let's see what Lionsgate is gonna do with their Inception. Yeah, but it was interesting enough.
More rating on that.
Yeah, I think I would make an argument for this book. I think it is the most high concept RL has gotten across the books, across the series. And I think for him, I mean, there's originality in the books, but there's nothing that, Gene, as you said, actually does make you think. I mean, me as an adult, like a grown man, I had to think like, it took me, I was like, wait a second. So, and I had to like parse it out for a second in my head, what was happening. And that's a credit to him. I think he executed it well. And I will also say, totally get if people want to dig in on this book and say like, well, it's just a series of like waking up, whatever. He has done that before in the series and it's been worse than this.
Okay.
It's
Great.
just like, I had a crazy dream and then I woke up. And then sometimes it's a dream within a dream, but it's not this world that you can like move around it.
Right.
You know, like this is something, especially at the time, I think is pretty interesting. And now you do see it everywhere. Like this is like the season 3, 4 of The Sopranos, where Tony Soprano gets shot, and he's Kevin. His name is Kevin, whatever, and he's like living in this world that's a dream for a few episodes, but it shows you like this other dimension of the character, and it's this space that you are also occupying. Yeah. So I think that's cool. I do have a major complaint, which we can talk about as we move forward. But what it doesn't do well is it sort of renders the whole first like 60 pages are moot. Like once you find out that, well, this is actually like throw all this shit away actually, because we're actually in this other reality. Then it's like, well, I don't know. I didn't even really get to know characters that well because they're different and differently assigned in the real world.
That was probably my biggest problem with it, because like every time the character would like reset and be like in the new world, it would just be like, okay, this is my new set of rules. Yeah. Screw the rules that I like. The one lingering thing obviously is Keith, but everything else is just like, okay, she's my sister now. I didn't believe like that. Like weeks ago, this was not the situation, but now, okay, she's just my sister.
It overwrites itself again and again. Yeah, it's like actually this person is this person, but then actually scratch that because it's actually this person, and then wake up from that entirely, delete that, it's this other thing. And I think that's frustrating in a way, but it also, I guess you can argue, it shows the trajectory of like how fucked up this character is.
Yeah.
This book is kind of like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
In that, like, you just got to enjoy the ride, the twists and turns, and at the end of a roller coaster, you just got to be like, whoa, that was surprising and different. You can't just be like, let's discuss what this roller coaster means. I mean, like you're at Six Flags and you're like, how does it embody the character Bizarro?
Yeah.
See, I agree with you to a certain extent, but for this specific story, there was an ending, like maybe like the first time you saw Keith in the story, I had an ending plotted in my head that I knew it wasn't going to end at, but just something that I thought would be cooler.
Oh, well, the thing too, I think with this book, RL Stine was just like, no one's gonna guess my ending.
Yes,
and then like his wife was like, it's this, right? And he's like, fuck, and he just kept changing it. And then he finally found one that no one would guess because
he pulls the last 2-page bindle and just goes, hey, check it out, it's different.
I
like it.
I think largely I would say like we should analyze what we see and what we read, but Dave, I think that's a great analogy because RL, as we've said famously, doesn't want you to analyze it.
No.
Doesn't give a shit. Like it doesn't mean more than it means, right?
Yeah,
like it's very
fragmented sentences.
It's like Hemingway would always say like my stories don't actually mean more than like what you think they mean. There's actually no paper, symbolism. Which is obviously insane because like there's a shit ton of symbolism. But RL means it. RL says it and means it.
That's like you showing your friend your art and be like, yeah, it fucking sucks, so I'll probably just throw it out. But you like worked really, really hard and you just say that because
it's like 7 hours and you're just like, I don't like this that much. And they're just like, okay.
Yeah, it's like really
I worked 1,000
good.
hours on it, but the sun was in my eyes the whole time.
Yeah. It was windy that day.
Yeah, my dad wouldn't let me do it cool. Kept telling me to do it shitty. It's weird. It's cool. I could do better though. This is just like a quick, easy weekend project.
Hey, motion detected at the front door. All right.
Sorry.
No. Hey, look. I hope it's not a burglar.
No, I don't
But
think so.
the only thing about this book that I'd say it's fun for the ride, this and the last book, Matt, usually in your bad writing,
Yeah.
there's always the cliffhangers from chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
This is the first book where like the cliffhanger ends and I'm like, oh shit. Like
Yeah.
it actually means something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, that's creepy. This
Yeah,
book
they're
Page
gets
cool.
turn
creepy.
is going to actually change it up.
Yeah.
There's times where I actually like I was tired and I read this like every night throughout the week. I didn't just do a one sitting, and I'd be like, when I finish this chapter, I'm gonna like my eyes are closing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll read like the first paragraph, and even if it's just like, or at least that's what I thought it was actually this. I'm like I'm in it.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's
we're
a good thing
talking-
too, is that they're so digestible. Like you could just read the next chapter. Like it does snowball.
It makes you feel like a speed reader. It makes you
it
feel
does.
like you're like, oh, I've killed that chapter in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I will never feel like that because there's times where I'm like missing like up to the deadline to read a children's 110 page book, and I'm like not reading it fast enough. You were talking about Animorphs before. I googled this. We were like, let's do an Animorphs book just as a goof. Then we googled how many pages they are.
Dude, and they're so
240.
convoluted.
240.
They're like
Jesus.
Yeah,
They're-
I told
they're
Matt that, and he was just
so
like, "Fuck that."
dense. Like for
Same.
like a children's story, it's excuse me, it's so dense. Like I remember trying as a kid because again, like I'm just an avid collector, so I liked the covers and the flip book, and I was like, all right, let me give this a shot because like they also made a terrible Canadian TV show, so I was like, I've seen a few episodes of this. I could probably digest a book, but I remember like actually trying to read Animorphs as a kid and being like, this is weighty. Like it was like very like because like it was like an alien coming to like, and that's what made them. Well, I couldn't tell you exactly the plot line.
They're Yerks.
But like, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
it's definitely not worth the time.
Yeah, you get to an
That's for
age
sure.
where you'd rather yerk off than read about them.
Then read about the Yerks.
But speaking of reading, we're getting so close to this plot. Let's do what we do here on the Calling All Creeps podcast. Over 61 fucking times and discuss I live in your basement, Gov. Bollocks. Oh, sorry. It's so tough to get the difference. This is book number 61. Same in the metric system. Just want to let you guys know.
Okay, cool.
It came out in November of 1997, which is a month and a year. Song at that time, still, and this song hits even harder and is so upsetting after reading this book, is Candle in the Wind 1997.
Oh, man.
Because I thought I was sad about Princess Diana dying, but then I read the British book and you could feel the tears in the pages. There is a sorrow, a heavy weight in these pages for this time.
British trees just held it a little bit harder. Than
They
the
sure
American
did.
Ones.
They sure did.
That's beautiful.
The movies, and I kind of tipped my hat to this in the last episode. This is a very late 90s month. And the movies fucking,
They reflect it.
First week of the month, top movie, Starship Troopers.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Great fucking movie. I don't care who you are, watch it. It's not what you think it is. It rules. Second week, The Jackal. Third week,
Oh, yeah.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth week, Flubber.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And this is one of the facts that happened that month. On November 7th, this movie lost to The Jackal, but Bean, film directed by Mel Smith, starring Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean,
Holy shit.
opens in the U.S. So this is like height
Very nice.
Mr. Bean era.
Yeah.
Just like pinnacle bean.
Yeah. You could say the whole world was flicking their bean.
Was flicking that bean.
They're yerking off and flicking beans. So on November 4th, Come On Over, the third studio album by Shania Twain is released, which is crazy that you made that reference.
Oh, wow.
And that ended up being the Billboard Album of the Year for 1999. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe they didn't make music videos or some shit for a couple years.
Yeah,
but
like people came around late to it.
yeah. On November 14th, Disney's Lion King sets Broadway record by doing a daily sale of $2,700,000.
It's a
Jeez.
good show.
It's
Makes
a great
sense.
show. I saw that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of Broadway, but
I
that
probably saw it that year. I wasn't old at all when I saw that show.
I remember it as a kid, like with the, because there's a couple. I always mix up the one with the puppets, but that's like if you're in Disney proper. I saw that
Yeah.
as a kid, but this was the one
Yes,
where they
yeah,
dress
yeah,
up
yeah.
and the costumes are beautiful and like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
and they
awesome.
covered
Yeah.
in like paint and stuff. Yeah,
And just some more Elton John songs with their not.
yeah, just a little nice few tasty more.
I've been getting really into Elton John recently. He's a quite
he's
a good
really
songwriter.
Dude, the same year that what's it called? Bohemian Rhapsody came out. That movie about Elton John came out with Taron Egerton as Elton John, and I thought it was like I didn't see Bohemian Rhapsody because
It was all
I
right.
don't really.
I
like
heard it was bad. Yeah.
it doesn't like the editing. Like I saw so many clips of it, and I was like, okay, I'm not into that. But I watched the I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called.
Rocket
I watched it
Man?
on yeah, Rocket Man, obviously. And like the fact that they like redid the music was like so good for me.
Yeah,
Like,
he
the fact
did
that,
all
like,
that-
the people were actually singing, like not on set, but the
Yeah.
people who were on screen were singing the songs instead of just replaying Freddie Mercury stuff. Which is like I get it. You can't really
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But
Do
yeah,
Freddie
that
Mercury
guy.
justice,
What's his name?
but-
Taron
Taron Egerton, the
Yeah.
guy from
Oh, he's the Elton John
Kingsman
guy.
movies.
Kingsman. Yeah.
And then and then Mr. Robot was Freddie Mercury. But they
Oh,
gave him
yeah,
these
yeah.
awful crazy teeth, and it was like he was trying to talk with like Halloween Dracula teeth in his mouth for
And it
parts
was
in the movie.
directed by Brian Singer. And that's
Right.
problematic now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. That guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's a huge piece of shit. He's like, I make X-Men movies and fuck kids.
And fuck
Go
children.
to hell, you little bitch.
Come on,
fuck
man.
you.
Don't
I hate
ruin
you.
those movies.
Go die. Did you guys know that on November 15th, the 19th Ace Cable Awards rewarded Nickelodeon with the Golden Cable Ace for The Big Help? Do you
Yep.
remember the Nickelodeon The Big Help?
Nope.
No. Is that a movie?
It was like they would basically get all their Nickelodeon celebrities and people to be like, hey kids, make sure you like turn off the lights and
Oh.
stuff and conserve water.
Yeah, I think I have a
and we're gonna
very
save this
vague
many
memory.
trees.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now. Continue.
Big Help. It was a movie, or it was like
No,
a,
it was like a
It's like a
a
movement.
special. Oh, a movie.
so like
It
between
says-
commercials.
It says it's a children's television series. There's 8 seasons. The Big Help is a community outreach program made famous in 1994. It was a yearly event. Okay.
So they would have like
got
it was like a
Clarissa
telethon
Explains It All to
almost.
come out.
Hold on, look at the logo. Does the logo?
Does that do anything for you?
Danny Tamborelli would probably come out and talk to me.
He would.
Yep.
He
Mhm.
He would have been
Beth-
Pete and Pete at that time, probably.
No, I think it was late. This was he would probably be figuring it out at this point.
Oh, right. Oh, dude, Figure It Out. That was a good show.
It became like the worldwide day of play.
Talk about Big Cum. Figure It Out was a great show.
I'd
That
love
Summer
to
Sanders
talk
was
about
a
Big Cum.
looker.
I mean,
all right.
it pays the bills. So.
So, some stuff about this book. On June 21st in 1996, the Orange County Register published an interview with R.L. Stine. In the interview, Stine mentioned a new book title that he'd recently conceived, I Live in Your Basement. After revealing the title, Stine admitted that he didn't yet know what the book was about. So this book title existed
Title
literally
first.
a year before in a
That's
very
his
R.L.
process.
Stine
That's
way.
awesome. That's awesome.
You could get this book early. Only way to get this book early was on Halloween, the special spooky day itself. R.L. Stine made a special appearance at the Walt Disney World MGM Studios during its run of the Goosebumps Horrorland Fright Show, where along with meeting fans, he signed copies of this book just prior to its release.
Wow.
And he'd be like, hello, welcome to Disney World. My name is
Unannounced,
Mickey
too. They
Mouse."
didn't even ask him to come.
He just was doing it.
He just showed up with a bunch of books.
And he said, I'm very sick.
Is this
Shout out, Brian.
This book has the lowest page count in the original series.
Maybe that's why I chose it.
But Deep Trouble 2 has less words. So
Maybe that's not
Okay.
why I chose it.
Yeah. Also, Keith appears as a character in the Download and Die comic arc, which famously we read. But I don't remember Keith at
We
all.
did.
So
I was gonna say I have no memory of it.
yeah, but we didn't even know to remember Keith. It was probably like, my name's Keith and I'm creepy. And we're like, oh, fucking all right. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't have capacity in my brain to remember this.
And some more important facts. Just so you guys know, here is kind of the decoder ring to what we're going to discuss. In this book, my copy, Mom is known as Mum on every page. M-U-M.
That makes sense.
The backpacks are rucksacks.
I love that.
The parking lot is a car park.
Of course.
A
You lost
counter
me.
counter is a worktop.
Yes.
Instead of puking, it's described as heaving every time.
Okay.
Okay.
A center is spelled C-E-N-T-R-E.
Right.
Perfect.
Sneakers are always referred to as trainers.
Yes.
Okay.
Instead of movies, it's films. And apparently I just wrote chapter 26, which I don't understand at all, but maybe later I'll get it because
A lot of OU spellings in there, Dave, like behavior and any yogurts in there? Yogurts?
Did they go to the theatre?
the theatre?
yeah, there was theatre. Did you guys have like a early page? Like a teaser page?
No.
No.
So the British one comes with a teaser page, and I'm not sure if this is from the book because I don't really remember. Is there a point where the doctor pulls his tongue out over and over and over again?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, wake up. Oh, yeah. So basically that
So
part
hot.
is just reprinted in the beginning. And I read it and I was
so
like, I'm in. That's
It
dope.
just gives you like a little blurb that's like, Chet, this is going to be in this shit.
Yeah.
It's like I threw my head back and struggled to breathe as the doctor pulled more tongue from my open mouth. More tongue, more. My tongue piled up like an endless wet snake on the floor beside the bed. Humming
been
to
there.
himself, Dr. Belly continued to pull. It's a dream, I told myself, another frightening nightmare. I shut my eyes tight and willed myself to wake up, to lift myself from the dream. Wake up, Marco. Marco, wake up. But when I opened my eyes, the doctor was still hunched beside me, pulling out my tongue, pulling. It wasn't a dream. And then it's like, boom, boom. Turn the page. Goosebumps. I live in your basement.
And it's got one of
Nice.
those tabs in it that just like starts playing the theme song.
That would rule.
And it just goes,
If only.
all right. And then we hit the book. Gene, as our guest, would you like to start off this plot?
Please.
Yeah, I mean, I broke it down for myself so I could help out with the summary.
We appreciate you. I mean, we could
And-
skip all the bullshit in the beginning and just say Marco gets hit in the head with a bat, right?
Well, I mean, I would like for the most part, but the only thing that like bothered me about it is that like his mother is like super like neurotic about like how like dangerous everything is, and like
Yeah.
there's this whole chunk about germs. Like they say germs maybe like 6 times in like a whole page, and then it's never brought up again. Like there's nothing to do with germs. I mean, I guess there's like weird gross stuff that goes on later on, but it's never like she never complains about any of the weird gross stuff. It's just like there's a whole like chunk about germs that I just didn't fully understand. It just brought me a little question, but other than that, yeah, basically Marco just gets hit in the head.
But it's like 0 to 60 with mom's things. Like if you wipe your butt too much, it'll bleed. And if
Yeah.
you continue
Yeah.
wiping, you might cut your whole body in half. Like it's like, what
if
the
you play
fuck?
cool, you're gonna stab yourself in the eye.
It's
Yep,
wild. And-
it's a good mom, honestly. She's instilling the right
Neurosis.
fear of the world.
Yeah.
And just the general fear that you should have going out into everyday life.
Yeah.
But,
Lord knows we
yeah.
need more of that.
Of course, yeah. So yeah, what's his face? Marco gets hit in the head by this girl named Gwynny. Inexplicably, he's standing incredibly close to her while she's practicing her swings, and so obviously that's gonna turn out negatively for him.
It sure did.
So he wakes up at home. He's on a couch. His mom gives him the whole, "You just got hit."
Dude, you just got hit, dude.
He wakes up to a phone call to a phone that's apparently not there, and the second that happened, I was like, this kid has a tumor. Like that's the ending that I think this book should end with. It's like instead of it waking up as it did, I think it should just, like, after he got hit in the head, this rest has just been a fever dream since he got hit in the head, but he's still in like a bed in a hospital
Like
somewhere.
one of those special things where you hear the story and it's like, if this person didn't get impaled on a fence, they wouldn't have found the tumor on their kidney and they would have died 3 days later.
Yeah. Because that's when he starts talking to that kid Keith, and Keith is like, "You're gonna have to take care of me now." And I was like, what does that even mean? Like
I say that to Dave all the time. He knows what it means.
I love.
All right, maybe you guys can explain it to me then, because I still don't fully understand.
All right, so when you get an erection, sometimes it just won't go away, and you have to, no. But I thought it was super creepy. So this is one of the parts that I was in. I was like, "You got me," because this kid. He's like, "I'm gonna play baseball. Here are my friends." 0 to 60. Kid gets his fucking dome blopped off.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and the phone. He's like, "I guess I'll pick it up," and it's just like, "Hey, it's Keith. I live in your basement. You're going to have to take care of me. Feel better." And he's like, "The fuck?" And then he's like, "Mom, Keith just called me and he's a creeper who lives in our basement." And she's like, "There's no phone in this room." And I'm like, shit's going down.
That part was cool for me. Yeah,
It's awesome.
The fact that, like, that he picked up a phone that doesn't exist, but that's where my mind's processing, being like, oh, because he lives in his brain because it's a tumor.
Yeah, but it
Keith
is
tumor.
It's compelling. And Gene, you gotta the context. I just want to let you know.
I'm really trying. I'm so trying to separate it, but my
you're
brain
doing
just
great.
does not work that way.
I'm offering you some context where Dave and I are coming from, which is like a big pile of shit.
Right. Yeah. So you're just grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some highlights, and we do enjoy the books as a whole.
Right.
But this entry compared to, especially a lot in the later canon, and I've said that a few times now in the better books in the later part of the series, but compared to the later part of the canon, that beginning part definitely had me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, up until basically after he goes home from the doctor the first time, I was like sold on the book.
Same.
Yeah.
But like, then the story just not. I mean, again, like, the convoluted, like, nature of the rest of the story is because RL is just like, well, can't have anybody think that that's where we're going. Got to do it and move us over here so I can reset the clock. And like, I totally understand that, like, from a narrative perspective, but like, just from a story perspective, it just, like, I want it to end differently.
Welcome to Calling All Creeps.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I can't tell if I thoroughly enjoyed this book, but I think because we're so far, I think I did. But like, I think back to other books where we were stuck in like Goosebumps hell, where I was like, yeah, I know this book ends with like an army of snowmen coming and fighting a monster and throwing them into magic ice, but I think it's pretty deep. Like,
Yeah.
but this one, I'm like, I kind of get it. Cause like after this, it's just like his buddy, whose name I always forget. Was it Jeremy?
Yeah.
He comes over and they're like playing pool and shit. And like a squirrel gets let into the basement and they chase it out. And like, then he like goes and he's like, yeah, I guess nothing scary about the basement. But then he hears Keith, but he's talking to his mom and sees him in the basement, but like nobody's there. And he just loses it in front of his mom.
Yeah.
And he has to go to the doctor.
Yeah, this is the point too, where you're like, is something spooky happening, or is he like, does he have a concussion?
Yeah.
But this gets creepier too, because then he goes to school, and this is like, it's just like, I don't know, RL Stine, anytime he needs to write something in but doesn't know what to do, he's recently been like, well, they go to school and they're having a lesson about it. Like last fucking book, he needed to get the werewolf rules in it, so it was like werewolf day at school. But in this one, they go to like 12th grade school, whatever that is, like 6th grade or something, and they're doing a lesson on healthcare.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what was your stay in the hospital like,
Yeah,
boy,
what was
who
the
just was
hospital?
decapitated? And he can't remember.
He can't remember being in the hospital
Yeah.
at all.
And it's kind of scary in that, like, that's what I find scary now. Just being like, hey, don't you remember this? And just trying to be like, I have my life together. I am okay. I don't want to draw attention to myself. Everything is fine. I'm
Right.
getting better. But then realizing, like, you don't know where you were. Like, because the other side of the coin is, like, my mom did not take me to the hospital. Why was I not in a hospital? Am I okay? Is there
Right.
severe danger? Or was I in the hospital and I don't even remember that? And is the damage worse than I know? And then Gwynny chases him home with a bat.
Yeah. And then he gets scared all the way home.
Yeah.
See, like, the one issue that I have with that as well is how quickly it's dropped off. It's because, like, they all mention he's went to a hospital already. He goes home. He's like, I'm not even going to bring this up to my mom. And, like, again,
yeah.
it's because it's a dream the whole time. So it's not even, like, necessarily, like, the second that you accept that everything is a dream, then you can accept the flaws, because obviously you're not going to be thinking like A to B when you're in the dream world. You can't, like, correct the things that, unless you know how to lucid, but I don't. So, like,
Damn, I always think about that.
Like, that's the thing that, like, at least, like, towards the end when he was, like, pinching himself and he was, like, still feeling it even though supposedly he was dreaming, I was like, okay, where am I? Like, that's where it started to pull me back in again, like, when with the big blobule. But I won't, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I think what this does well too is, like, small things are surreal.
Yes.
So, like, you get the call, right? There's a phone in the room, and I get a phone call from somebody I don't know, and they say they're in the basement. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
weird. Okay. And then on top of that, actually, there's no phone. And but otherwise, everything's, like, pretty normal. You got hit in the head. Everything else is explainable. And then, yeah, and it does tip you off, obviously, that it's a dream when the teacher asks about healthcare, because no teacher is allowed to, like, ask
Yeah.
you, like, what was it like to be in the hospital in front of all your peers?
In front of the whole class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
What was your deductible?
yeah.
Did your insurance cover most of it?
Yeah. Right. But so Gwynny chases him home with a bat, and later says, like, sorry, I was just going to ask how you were, and I was, like, practicing my swing or something.
Yeah, no, she was up to bat.
Up to bat.
So she had to hold the bat over her head, obviously.
That's
'cause
how you bat.
That's how you chase someone.
Yeah.
And make sure you let them know that you're sorry for hitting them with a
Yeah,
bat.
exactly.
Chase him with a bat.
Big string of events that makes a lot of sense.
There's another scene too where he sees Keith on his bed, and then he locks the door
Right.
and
Yeah.
runs down to
The
his
inciting
mom
incident.
and comes back up and opens the door, and the dog is just in his room.
Yeah. Friggin' Tyler.
Interesting part of this book. I think this leans to the dream, or it could just be lazy RL Stine writing, or it could have been incredible. Why is there a lock to the outside of his room?
Outside of his room, yeah. Why would he have a key?
This made me think that maybe he was institutionalized the entire time. And I was like, what a good ending if this is him, like, living somewhere and he's, like, disturbed or something and none of it actually happened, and, you know.
Yeah.
That's him locking away the tumor in his brain. Putting it into a little cove.
Yeah. Yeah, he does specify, like, it's I have a key to my room. I have, like, a key to lock it from the outside. And he locks Keith.
And having a mother that's so doting and neurotic about everything, it doesn't sound like she would allow him to have a lock, period.
Well, yeah, but this one's for her to lock him in. It's the other way around.
It's even better.
He can't lock her out. It's them keeping him in there.
Yeah.
This is his little mind prison.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry. Do we already say it was the dog in there and he looks
Yeah, it was
crazy?
the dog.
Okay. So then Gwenny eventually does come over and explain, like, sorry, I was just up at bat, and he convinces her to go to the basement with him to like make sure nobody lives down there.
Yeah, basically she comes over to apologize and like all of a sudden it just like turns into body horror like almost immediately. It's just like, "Oh yeah, like I'll help you find this ghost. Oh, you can't scare me, you know why?" Like,
Yes.
like it just that's where I was just like, "All right.
Yeah.
where do we go from
Because
here?"
Gwenny checks around and is tough and stuff, but then just decides to puke all of her organs
Yeah, and
in
turns into like a
excruciating
yellow
detail.
inside out creature
She turns
with
her body
organs on her outside.
inside out from the mouth, right? So like you open the mouth so wide that it starts to go back, and then you expose your
Some
insides.
bubblegum like substance pours out and then followed by the rest of the organs.
Yeah. He
So hot.
the simile he uses is the bubblegum thing, and then he realizes like, oh, this is just this person's like entrails.
Like,
Or, like,
listen
their
to this
esophagus.
line. Something pink and glistening wet rolled out from the gaping mouth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's gross.
That's what I'm talking about. Like it just drops like. I mean, like he's very known for using his descriptive words, but like
Yeah.
that one just felt like out of a scene from like Human Centipede or
Yeah.
some shit like that.
And I love that he screams himself unconscious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like he literally screams until he has nothing left and wakes up in a hospital.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is fair. It's a fair reaction.
And this is when
Wakes
shit
up-
gets weird.
It gets even stranger, yes, where he wakes up to a new version of Dr. Bailey, not the old version that he had met initially when he went to the doctor.
Yeah. Who said? What did that doctor say? He said like, yeah, you're.
Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. I skipped ahead too far. This is where he meets the original doctor.
Okay.
And the doctor tells him he needs to have his brain taken out so
Right.
he can
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
it. And he just like I mean he doesn't accept it. Like he obviously is upset about it, but then he goes home and starts doing homework. And no part of me understood that at
Yeah.
all because
Yeah.
like a doctor just told me my brain might have to come out of my skull. Oh crap, I have English. I have to
Yeah.
figure that out.
But we also learn Gwenny, not the bully, not the baseball enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
but the sister?
Supposedly, yes.
Who? Oh, that was good. That was a good one.
My favorite. I love doing that.
Sponsored by Binford.
And become.
Yeah. Binford, Big
subsidiary of Pussy Juice.
Yeah, so Gwenny's actually the sister. So this is the turning point. This is where I say, like, okay, so previously, none of that shit we just learned matters, really.
Mm-hmm.
But it does show that he's in, like, a weird fever dream fugue state kind of a existence.
And that's when the new version of the Doctor, after they leave the room, he decides to have play that tongue trick with him, which is basically like when a clown pulls out like the long string of handkerchief.
The
but it's just-
bandana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just but just ripping the tongue down.
Just a lovely pile of tongue.
Yep. And then he woke up.
Which is another scream wake, yeah.
Yeah. So we wake up again.
He's real good at scream wakes.
He's like the Kevin McAllister of horror.
Yes.
Oh, he's slapping his face with his hands. So he does wake up in a hospital. There's a Dr. Bailey there. And Dr. Bailey's like, don't worry, we're going to like check you out. Well, one more night. You have to stay here. No big deal. By the way, we also provide this mail service here. Here's a letter that was left for you. And read that on your own time. Enjoy.
One of your little friends brought this all the way to a hospital.
Yeah, to the doctor. Yeah, and the doctor
to your specific doctor.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot about this, but do you guys remember like being sick and having that one person that'll like bring your homework?
Bring
over?
you your homework? Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I remember them doing that, and then me being like,
I'm absent, dude.
Yeah, I think you don't understand.
I remember I had my tonsils and adenoids out, and a kid, GM was his name. That's what he went
General
by.
Motors?
He stood for George Michael. He
Oh.
went by GM. I won't dox him and say his last name. He was the one who was bringing my homework to my house, and Mars Attacks, the movie, was really big, and he had gotten his hands on Mars Attacks comic books.
Yes, yeah.
And put them in with my homework and gave them to me. And those were fucking gruesome for a first grader, I think I was. And I hung on to them and didn't show my parents because it's like people being turned inside out with lasers. And I was like, this is fucking dope. Oh, I love Mars Attacks. But yeah, this one goes out to you, GM.
Thanks, George Michaels.
Thank you, George
Gotta
Michael.
have faith.
Yeah. He wakes up, then he sees the real doctor. He gets the letter.
Real is such a loose word.
Keith is real and was talking to him in his dreams. Oh yeah, he like because Keith shows up at his house. And he comes home.
Lives in his basement.
But he comes home from the hospital being like, all right, this is real. I'm finally made it to the hospital. I'm finally home.
Yeah.
And Keith's just in his room. It's like, sup, bitch? And this is when it gets weird because he's like, you're a dream. And he's like, no, you dreamed me into existence, my dude. I'm real now.
Yeah, I intercepted your dreams and now I'm here.
Then
okay.
He pulls like a Lord of the Flies and grabs like a rock.
Yes.
And he fucking murders.
Paperweights that bitch.
It's like a paperweight rock owl. And he just
and then we have like
him.
a whole like 4 or 5 lines of just existential crisis coming from Marco because he's like, what the fuck did I just do? I just murdered somebody. Like, like how am I supposed to? And then shit really hits the fan.
If this wasn't a kid's book, if this was not a kid's book, the
Seriously.
next thing would be he would wake up the next day and he would be in a padded room.
That's what I like.
And
that's like
it would be that Gwynny was his sister, Keith was his brother.
Yeah.
And he fucking murdered him.
It's so high concept, dude. Like there's so many like twists that could happen from this story that like don't. And I appreciate that, but like it could be like a totally different story altogether.
But this could be a book for an older crowd. He could make the change and it wouldn't seem like that weird. Like right now it's obviously a kid's book, but if he added murder into it, this could be a Fear Street.
Right. Right up until that point, it's basically just like, well, everything is wrong.
He's knocking
everything
on the
you
door.
know is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Keith is here, and you murdered him.
Yeah.
Until he flips inside out.
Yeah. Then Keith's head disappears into his little suit. He turtles. He turns into like a fucking blob dude.
Yeah. And has a fight with Marco.
Which he does an okay job at, like, initially. Like, not great, but, like, he is able to separate it at some point and, like, make 2 out of 1.
Yeah, which it reforms, but he's able to, like, breathe and stuff. Like, because it covers him like a blanket.
But it does, like, go into his throat at one point. Like, there's, like, a descriptive, like, point of, like, them bringing up the fact that he had to like rip the gelatin like from his throat, and I was like, "Oh,
it's
hard cheese."
You remember Egg Monsters from Mars?
Yeah,
they basically became a big omelet, and they like start suffocating a boy in that.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, Keith kills him. Yeah, Keith suffocates him and kills him. Pretty much, right?
Mom,
and then he gets woken
kind
up.
of. He's basically like his like it was the very quick ending, like the way that it ended.
Well, the fight. I think he gets away. Actually,
yeah. Well, he gets to the kitchen, and then he's on the ground suffocating, and his mom like is like standing over him, like being like. He's like supposedly like crying out to ask her for help, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And then he wakes up in the same position, meaning that actually happened to the extent of where his dream led him. And his mom's just like, "You fucking, what are you doing again? Get up, go back to your room." And then he just goes up defeated to Keith because he's like, "I can't get away from you, whatever it is, just do what you gotta do."
Yep. And he goes to
And then
basically whatever, and then
Keith wakes up.
Keith wakes up. So all of this has been Keith's dream
Keith got hit with the friggin' baseball bat.
because Keith looks like a kid but is a blob monster and
Yeah.
is home, and he's downstairs, and guess who walks down the stairs and sees him living in the basement?
None other but Marco.
To which he says to Marco,
It's just a dream.
Great delivery.
you know what would be better? This ending could have been, I know what he's going for now. Now regurgitating it makes sense, but I think it should have been him hit in the head with no mom, and he's in the basement, and he's been like, I've lived here for so long and they've never figured me out, but I got hit in the head and I'm there, and he's just like,
That would make
and he
more
would be like,
sense to me.
Marco, I need your help. Please save me. Take care of me.
Yes.
Because I
that would
think
make
that's
more
what he was
sense to
going
me
for.
the take care of part. Because
Yeah.
like like knowing that Keith the monster also has a mom downstairs, like I didn't fully understand why he was, unless like he's just trying to be a part of like the human world, obviously, because he went to go play sports with them, which somehow turned out negatively for him, and he got back home somehow as well. But
It kind of makes sense. I think if RLS was going for the whole like take care of me because this is my subconscious, I got
Right.
wounded, I need to befriend Marco. That's not a terrible ending. It's just done
No.
shitty. What do you think, Matt?
I agree. I mean, it's the endings typically are not strong. I do think it's kind of funny. Like it's there's some whimsy to it because of the way
For sure.
the way it's delivered. It's like Marco sees the monsters, right, and then which is Keith, and it says, "What should I say? How should I answer?" I had to think fast. "Who are you?" he repeated. He being Marco. A little louder, a little stronger. You're dreaming." I called to him. He squinted harder at me. "Go back upstairs," I told him. "It's just a dream." It's kind of cute.
Yeah, especially after like the horrific mess that you had to walk through the whole book, it ends it on a lighter note that
Yeah.
it would make more sense that it's a part of a children's.
That's
like
that's a good way to put it. Is that it's light. It's not reductive. A lot of the endings that RL has, like, they just like really undercut the whole book that he's built.
Yeah.
But this is fun. Not
I think it supports the rest of the book.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's
feel
not high art, but it's fine.
Every
Right.
ending could be summed up with the cadence of ba-da-ba-ba-da-bam, bam. Like literally
100%.
people are puking their own guts. And then it's
Yeah.
just like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da- Hi,
That's
I'm
all,
RL Stine.
folks.
Yeah,
And then he just like leans up one leg and it's like,
that was spoopy, wasn't it?
welcome to my dead house. All right. Now it's that part where we do good writing, bad writing. Gene, you're our guest. What'd you like?
I liked that sentence real early that I read for the beginning. That still has me laughing.
Why
I
though?
like,
I don't understand. Like, I get it. It's about like a licking thing. Like, what is
Yeah.
it in reference to?
I don't know. It's just the way his descriptive words. Like I still can't figure out what the G word is, even though they said germs a bunch. It feels elusive to me.
Gum.
Hey, I have a question.
You think there's some such thing as chewing gum?
It depends on how long you wait with it, but probably. Yeah.
Oh God.
I
This is
mean, I
getting
guess
raunchy.
you could chew it. My question, the G spot. What does the G stand for?
Gene.
Okay,
Oh, I get it now.
Mhm.
asked and answered. I appreciate it.
I'm in every vagina.
I knew
Like
it.
Not in like a pleasurable way or anything. I just
Yeah.
rent real estate there.
I knew it. I've never seen one or been near one, but
I've only ever seen them from the inside. I have no idea what the outside
It's kind
looks
of like how people buy like stars. You just bought like a lot of real estate and vaginas all around the world.
Like I get a small percentage of tampon sales across the nation, which is lucky, you know.
Yeah.
Big Cum treats me well.
Good for you, dude.
It's great. It's a great business.
But yeah, no, I thought like that, like again, the fact that it kept you on your toes. I really appreciated that, especially because like a lot of the other books are so easily like plotted, like, and you can like tell where it's going from, like for most of them, not all of them obviously, but for like most of the, I don't know, just growing up, I like you can like feel a pattern over time, and this one did not have a pattern, and I appreciated that.
It's true. I think after reading 60 of these fuckers, 61 keeping us on our toes this late just shows the mastery of the craft of RLS. Also,
Of course,
knowing
those tight pants.
he's finishing it off, it's kind of like, you know, he's showing off now. He's showing off.
Yeah.
Like he could just be riding his Razor scooter to school, but he's doing like tail whips and shit. Like,
Of course, and he's not hitting any ankles.
no
It's
ankles.
all just clean land.
Clean lands. He doesn't even have the wheelie bar. He's doing this all
Yeah.
just, you know.
With his feet. Cool. So that was all your good, Gene?
I'd say so, yes.
Excellent. I'll just barrel through mine real quick. On page 3, it says the green lines along Fulton Street all glowed in the sunlight. The air smelled fresh and sweet. I will also say later in the book when he's fighting Keith, I didn't write this down, but there's a part where he's being suffocated, and he manages to get Keith off, and he gets some air, and he refers to it as like cool and sweet, and which is, I think, evocative because it's like, you know, whatever, you're underwater for too long and
It's life-giving. Yeah.
you get to the surface and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Page 3, it's kind of funny. I like that the dog is named Tyler. Person's name for a pet. Classic way to go.
That's my way to go. Yeah.
Part Cocker Spaniel, part we don't know what. Hey, that's fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
When he gets hit in the head, Marco, early on, he neighs like a horse. Oh yeah, he describes having a concussion as thinking that his dog was sitting on his head, right? So he feels this pressure, and that's how he describes it. I think that's useful. On page 44, I wrote eggs. What do I mean by that? Oh, it says, this is when he goes to the doctor, when Marco goes to the doctor for the first time. And there's a girl there who has the hiccups. She's had the hiccups for like 35 years or something. And it says, Dad, the girl snapped, it's only been 10 days. Has she been eating eggs? Mom asked the father. Too many eggs can give you the hiccups. The man stared at Mom. It's the egg whites, Mom continued. They're too slippery. You can't digest them. The man stared at Mom some more. Finally, he murmured, I don't think it was the eggs.
Yeah, Mom fucking sucks.
Yeah, Mom
but
sucks
also, Mom
so
is
bad.
mostly a dream, so you can't really say Mom sucks.
Can't even say that it's real Mom. Yeah.
All of chapter 18 is kind of badass, and this is the first time that we see the transformation. And it says, she opened her mouth wider, her mouth stretched open, until the rest of her face disappeared behind her mouth. Her tongue plopped heavily over her chin. Then something pink began to pour out. Something pink and glistening wet rolled out from the gaping mouth. At first I thought there was bubble gum. Then I was staring at Gwynny's insides. I saw yellow organs clinging to the glistening pink flesh. Something long and gray twisted out of her mouth, wrapped around itself. Dark purple lungs slid over the drooping tongue, and then her red heart, so red, so startlingly red, plopped from her open mouth, throbbing steadily, throbbing wetly. Yeah.
This is what I would pay for that to be like an episode. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And
so this is an episode, I think?
No. Is it really?
No, it's not. Oh wait,
I
no, I'm
couldn't
thinking of
find it.
Werewolf Skin.
Yeah,
So let's
I
hope
just
with the next one that this will be an episode.
yes.
Yeah, and that happens later too, when Keith morphs, I guess, and it's pretty fucked up. Yeah, I think I have on page 97 something I wanted to talk about. Oh, this is when when Marco's fighting Keith, and he gets cut in half. Keith gets cut in half. He's like a blob at this point. It says, I saw two of the milky slime creatures. I had cut it in two, and the two halves throbbed wetly on the kitchen linoleum. They bobbed helplessly like fat insects on their backs. And all of the surrealism of this book, because of all the dream stuff that's happening and like the injuries and whatever, paired with like people turning inside out and turning into something else and not being who they are, it did like the idea of something on its back helplessly like writhing is a straight up Kafka metamorphosis thing. That's like how the story starts with Samsa, Gregor Samsa, like on his back as a beetle. And it's like an interesting thing. Like, of course, I would say probably that's not happening here, but it seems like a metamorphosis illusion, and just the general surrealism of it, and just I don't know, the way that the world like makes and shapes you, and like the familial aspect, because like in Metamorphosis, his family abandons him. It's so like it's dreadful, like existential dread. And I don't know. There's some of that in this story. I don't know. We could talk about it. We could have a little Kafka discussion
for sure.
But yeah, I think that's largely what I had. How about you, Dave?
I love the description of him getting flunked with the bat. Beginning,
yeah,
page 6. I saw the bat move, but I didn't have time to duck or move out of the way. The bat made a loud thunk as it slammed into the side of my head. At first, I didn't feel a thing. The ground tilted up, but I still didn't feel anything. Then the pain exploded in my head. Exploded, ... Exploded, ... Exploded. Everything flashed bright red, so bright I had to shut my eyes. I heard myself shrieking, neighing like a horse, a shrill wail I had never heard before, and then the ground flew up to swallow me.
No, man, that last line, that's good.
Yeah.
All that. It's just... And the thing is, like, it's not like I shrieked. It's I could hear myself shrieking. It's like separation from your body. That was so cool.
Like a totally like out of body experience.
Yeah, that's
if you've ever had a concussion, it makes sense. I've been there. I didn't scream, but like one thing I remember when I had my concussion was standing up and being like, "I'm cool. Everyone will think it's cool if you stand up real quick," and then falling back down, and then there's like a loss of time. But page 12, I said, I live in your basement, hit so hard on the phone call. No phone in the room after. Just, that's awesome. Yeah. This is a really funny line when Jeremy comes over and he's like laying there. He kind of like comes in and he's like, is it okay if I come say hi? And he's like, it's okay to come over here. You won't catch what I've got. And I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love the doctor's office description as being a super sterile plastic environment. They go into like all the plastic chairs, the plastic walls, the plastic floor, like everything is super cool.
The description of him that he felt like he was in a fish tank. That I felt that.
Yeah.
And even like small details like he says he sees beads of sweat on the doctor's Adam's apple, as if it's a fever dream. Like if it's pretty cool. Gwynnie puking her own organs ruled. The same description that Matt had, I had in here. That they double and triple down on it's a dream so much makes it even more confusing. Yeah. Because there's so many like, oh, I was dreaming, I was dreaming. This is just like, it's a tangled mess on purpose, but there's still a thread carrying it together to the point where it's not stupid. Also, as Matt read, throbbed wetly on the kitchen floor is a place I've been before. Gene, what sucked? What do you hate?
There's this one part that I pulled up where Marco says very early in the book, he says, "I'm starving. I cried. I poured myself a big bowl of my favorite cereal combo, Frosted Flakes and Corn Pops, all mixed together." I got really angry at that part because I don't understand why you would choose to mix those two consistencies with each other.
Oof, I agree.
Frosted Flakes definitely like loses its flair way sooner than corn pops. I can get some crunch out of corn pops a lot longer than you can get crunch out of Frosted Flakes. So I didn't understand what his choice was there. Now, should that be too problematic for me? No, probably not, but it is. It really is.
I think of the soggy factor because, like you said, Frosted Flakes get soggy pretty quick, but when corn pops get this kind of like slime around them,
puff out. Yeah, they turn into like this weird cornstrosity.
Well, that's.
I mean, I enjoy them, but
that's how you know it's a dream. Because no fucking pervert would do that.
Is that what you have for bad?
Yep.
Hell yeah. You know, I'll piggyback that because mine is a food thing as well. It's when his sister gives him a Milky Way in the hospital, and he doesn't eat it like in 5 seconds of receiving it. Especially
like after living the horrors that he's lived through. Like the only grace that he's been given is a Milky Way. Why not just take those like 48 seconds to consume that?
Well,
and then move upon
imagine if it's just like, hey, Marco, you're not at your best when you've had a massive head injury. Have a Snickers.
Well, my issue is that he doesn't eat it right away because he's like waking up. And she says, like, hey, you got to eat that or it's going to melt. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like a regular, like, where are we?
You bought it out of a machine that is holding the same temperature as this room.
Like, are we outside in the fucking desert?
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe that's a detail. That it was like a weird dream thing.
He was in hell the whole time.
Yeah.
Subtext.
Oh my god. Truly Icarus, but instead of wings, we have a Milky Way.
He flew too close to the baseball bat.
Dave,
his
what do you
head
have?
melted. On page 6, well, first of all, I have all the numbers in the British book are goops, and the 5 looks like an S.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Are mine goops? Are they goops in general? Yeah, they are.
They are? Are they this goopy?
Mine
they seem like different goops, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's a bigger goop on yours.
Yours is a boulder, and mine also, the US version has an underline.
Yeah,
mine
but the 5 looks like an S.
5.
Yeah, so other than that, British S5. On page 16... he was checking out his wound, and it's just crazy. Stepping up to the medicine chest mirror, I checked out the damage. Not too bad. I had an ugly purple bruise on the right temple. It had swelled up like a giant mosquito bite, but the rest of my head had its normal shape. I winked at myself. My eyes seemed sharp and clear. I let out a loud cheer. My throat didn't hurt. I was so happy to be feeling strong again. Imagine being like, all right, let's check my body. I got my head. Everything's fine. Hooray! Well, my throat seems to be okay.
I thought the loud cheer was a fart.
A Bronx cheer is a fart.
Oh, that's right.
On page 105, forever is 2 separate words, and that drove me crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then the end fucking sucked. But I get what they were going for, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Time for our end where we do top spook and scare. Best dressed and alternate title.
Hell yeah. Gene, what do you got for spook and scare? What's the scariest part of this book?
The first time the blob monster shows its insides 100%.
That's fair.
That and the mixing of the 2 cereals.
Equally scary.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you think?
They probably look similar.
They probably do.
Yeah, you're right.
Mine is just the idea of realizing you cannot trust your memory in your own mind.
There's
points where he doesn't know what's going on. That's fucking scary.
Yeah, not knowing what's real is always frightening.
Yeah.
Best dressed. What do we think? I wonder what I wrote.
Best dressed.
Oh, I got it. What do you guys think?
Jeremy.
Jeremy? What does Jeremy look like?
I don't know, but there's a point where Marco's description of Jeremy says Jeremy doesn't touch anything with germs. And I don't know how he does that, but if it's possible, he probably looks the best because he's never touched anything with germs.
All right, that's true. Logistically,
true.
that
He hasn't been
adds
fucked
up
by
to me.
germs. Yeah.
Dave, what do you think?
Mine's gonna be Marco in the hospital because I bet he's wearing one of those gowns with his little butt showing.
Little
Oh,
butt cheeks.
man.
Little butt
Butt cheek
showing.
gown.
What's that? Is that a breeze?
Wait, what are you doing back there?
What are you doing back there? Your butt's out, you silly Billy.
Our first
yeah.
test is we're just gonna do a small puff of air on your butt. Do you feel that? I'm gonna piggyback that, Dave. I think that's great. I had Keith because he's like a little rockabilly guy, and we just talked about that. But
Yeah.
but no, I think that's great. How about our alt titles? Gene, any alt title come to mind? Oh, we established one early on, didn't we? For you, what was that?
Something cum related. No, jizz related.
Of course,
It
this
definitely
podcast.
had the word jizz in. Or I think everybody laughs when you say jizz or something like that. I think that was what it is. But I would say
We hope.
the alternate title would be The Existential Crisis of Keith the Monster.
I
That's
love it.
fair.
You know what you're getting.
I mean, it ruins the end of the story, but
Yeah, it does.
I just like it.
You know, for me, I appreciate it. It saves me time. I can finally go fucking do something else. Dave, what do you think?
Basement family.
Hell yeah. And I wrote Spilling My Guts.
Oh, that one's good. That's cute. That's very
good.
cute.
Yeah.
It does what it has to. Where's the witch?
I don't even know if there's really a witch in this one.
I don't think there
Could
really
be,
is. Marco's
Could be
brain?
Keith's mom.
Keith's brain?
No, it's Gwynny.
It's Gwynny.
Oh, because she has the power to become a sister at any point.
Yeah, she has the power to change her location in families
That's a
true.
good power.
That's true.
and hold steady at a running speed when holding a bat over her head.
Yeah.
Which normally people need like that, like
Move your arms
arm
and stuff.
use.
Actually, I'm going to take that back. I am going to say Gwynny probably isn't a witch because I imagine a witch would have more special attack, while she seems to be a striker with the bat.
I don't know. Winnie exclusively was trying to get him to eat candy, which is very similar to the gingerbread house witch.
Ooh, you beat me. You got it. Okay, Gwynny's a witch. I'm down for it.
Well, I
most
think-
luscious liquor.
This speaks for itself, right? It's got to be our boy Dream Marco in Dr. Scene number 2.
Yeah.
I think it's Tyler when Tyler's licking.
his G spot. Yeah, he's licking his G spot.
That's true.
It's between the guy whose tongue's a million feet long or the G spot liquor. I'll call it a tie.
All right, good. And Brian, please let us know if this is my pube. I don't know. I mean, I don't fucking know anymore. I don't have the patience to find out. I don't know what I'm looking at. There's a bunch of shit down there. One of those is probably my dick. It looks like a pube. I don't know.
Got to come figure it out.
Yeah. And then what else do we do? That's it, right?
I think that's it. I don't fucking know anymore. We're how long are this? So, Gene, thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks
is
for
there
having
anything
me.
you would like to plug?
Yeah, sure. Follow my Instagram, melt.gif. Pronounce that however you want. I will not get into the argument of GIF versus GIF.
I call it
especially-
queefs.
Gweefs, yes. So yes, it's melt.gweef on Instagram. That's pretty much the only thing I use nowadays. So yeah.
And you got some arts there.
Yeah, if you want to buy art from me, you can ask me and I'll make it.
Much appreciated.
I sell myself so good. Oh yeah, next year I'll be at ZapCon.
Yep.
So if you're in New
Next
Jersey,
year.
So if you're in New Jersey, September of 2022,
if you're in New Jersey
I-
in 15 months, go see Gene.
come buy stuff from me that I've had since 2019.
19, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And you'll be able to find us in 2 more weeks for the grand finale.
Dave, this is our last remote ep. Next one's going to be RRL.
I don't want
I
to.
bet you guys cough on each other a bunch,
Oh, we sure do.
Yeah.
like purposefully.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I cough into his butt. He coughs into mine. We
Yeah.
make sure that
and then
we're
you try to push out
clenching.
the coughs at each other.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
I just don't want to, really put it out there to people so they expect more. But I've always liked our in-person episodes the best.
Oh, they're great. I mean, clearly, like sometimes with my internet connection, there's lags and there's not the same. I can't smell your skin.
Oh, it sucks. That's the thing too. It's like, Gene, I would have loved to have you. But
Would have loved to
in the
smell your
future-
skin, Gene, but
In the future,
Alas.
your skin looks
I
delicious.
showered. You could smell it.
Oh man.
Damn.
Oh, can I change my alternate title to "You Can Smell It"?
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely
Okay.
can.
We're good. All right. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.